What's up, Jet fans? Let's talk about the Jets game number 13 against the Bills in Buffalo. The Jets lose, which brings them to a 7-6 record, and if the season ended today, actually, they'd be out of the playoffs. Um, in general, the game was like really strange. The weather affected both teams a lot. There was a bunch of penalties, especially pre-snap penalties on both sides for the Jets and the Bills, and both teams were playing really chippy, which I think was also strange. I didn't really hear anything about that going into the game, but they just seemed really aggressive. Anyways, let's jump into the actual game. For the offense, I do want to say, and this is the Jets offense and defense, the announcers were really talking the Jets up, which was just kind of weird, but also good, I think, as a Jet fan. You want these guys to become household names, but the Jets were really talking the Jets up, and if you were just a casual viewer, not knowing the records of the two teams, you would think the Jets were the favorites, honestly, in my opinion. Of course, they lost, which sucks. And like they were talking about Bam Knight, and he actually did play really well this game. And like he just has randomly jumped on the scene, and he got a rushing touchdown in this game, which was good to see. And another one, the announcers were talking up, I should say, was Garrett Wilson, and he also had another good game, even though they did lose. And he has officially set the or has the most receiving yards for a Jet rookie, which is exciting to see. We are expecting it, but it happened in this game, which is just really good to see. Um, but of course, the big story is Mike White. There was a decent amount of hype, I would say, going into this game. However, he is now 1-2, which is a losing record. And while I wouldn't necessarily blame him for the two losses, they were hard games, and he didn't really do anything, I would say, to lose the game. I also wouldn't give him that much credit for the one win against the Bears either. So what does that say? I'm not really sure, but specifically in this game, I'd have to say he showed a lot of heart. He was getting killed by the Bills' rush defense, um, and he came back into the game twice. Like the announcers were even calling him Danny LaRusso, which I think was funny. And so yeah, I will say though, however, this does show that the Jets' O line is not that good, unfortunately. And I will say about Zach Wilson, it shows that Zach Wilson was really scrambling for his life out there. Like Mike White, he can't really move that much, and he got absolutely killed by this defense due to his O line. And Zach Wilson honestly had a worse O line because there were more injured players. And I do think fans and evaluators need to consider how many of those picks would have been erased if the Jets O line was better. And so I'm not saying I think Zach Wilson is better. I'm not saying I think Mike White is better yet, but I just think that looking at Zach Wilson, all those picks he was throwing, a lot of them were due to the bad O line. And yeah, Mike White doesn't throw those picks, but he also gets killed by a relatively good uh, defense. So I think that has to be said. Anyways, jumping to the defense, once again, the announcers are really hyping up the Jets, specifically Robert Saleh, which I do think that this year he should be considered Coach of the Year, a candidate, anyways. But I don't know. Last year he wasn't. He was good, but I guess the team wasn't that good. But I don't know. They were really hyping him up. They did hold the Bills to only 20 points, but unfortunately in this game it was eight too many. The Jets defense did get a safety, which was good to see. Quinnen Williams had a good game as well, but he got injured, so hopefully he recovers. I know the announcers were really scared about his injury, but I think they realized that it wasn't what they thought it was, which is good, I guess. Um, and CJ Mosley, even though he did give up that fake hard count, which led to a Bills touchdown, unfortunately, their first touchdown, I think he had actually a really good game, especially at the end of the game. He was really helping the Jets defense, and it's a little scary because he is getting older, but he does seem to be the leader of this defense. Maybe someone like Quinnen Williams can kind of come in there, but for right now, just CJ Mosley had a good game, and I wouldn't give him too much for jumping on the fake count. In conclusion, just overall for the Jets season, the playoff window is closing. They're now basically 500 right now. They do have a few easy games coming up against the Lions and the Jaguars. However, this week the Lions and the Jaguars just beat the Vikings and the Titans, so two upset victories for them. So who knows if those are easy wins, I should say. Um, Also, of course, after this season, if they make the playoffs or not, I don't think anyone's expecting a Super Bowl run. But after this season, the biggest question is, what do we do at quarterback? Is Mike White the answer? I don't know. Is Zach Wilson the answer? I don't know. And even if he is, I don't think the Jets can now go back on what just happened with him. So I'm going to assume that he's probably not the answer for the Jets, anyways. So is it Mike White? Is it a free agent? Is it a draft? I don't know. These are just questions I honestly can't answer, but that's after the season. I think as Jet fans, we should be thinking about this season. We need to get those easy wins, and we need to get a few hard wins to maybe make the playoffs. And I think seeing the Jets break their playoff streak would be pretty exciting. Anyways, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.